Okay, so in June of 2023, the Supreme Court officially put an end to affirmative action in college admissions. Since then, some people believe that colleges are still not playing by those new rules because they weren't enforced. But it's mixed. So at some colleges, the percentage of Asian Americans or Black or Latino students has gone up, or 2 out of 3 of those, or 1 out of 3. At some colleges, they have gone down. So it's been a mixed bag, and diversity is still a very important goal, for most colleges out there, and it is certainly not something that the Supreme Court has said should not be a goal. What the Supreme Court said, Justice Roberts indicated, was that to use diversity or someone's skin color or ethnicity as the sole basis, to consider for admission is not allowable. It's not constitutional. But he did leave the door open by saying, and I don't have the exact quote because I'm a little lazy, which is that this is not to say that you can't ask essays, kids to write about and share their experiences in terms of their backgrounds, right? How does their race and ethnicity inform those experiences? Maybe there was some adversity, etc. So what happened was an explosion of the diversity essay, which already was a thing, and that takes different forms. But basically, one of them is, what community are you from? I don't ask about your lived experiences. If you see those buzzwords, community or lived experiences, those are diversity essays. So I had some kids in our boot camps last summer, and some private advising clients as well, who we would map out how many essays they had to write. It might be 25, a personal statement, and then supplemental essays. Out of those 25 supplemental essays, 11 could have been the diversity essay. So one issue I think a lot of our clients had. I mean, we do have some diverse clients, but some are not, scratching their head saying, "Well, I'm a white bread Irish Catholic from Manhasset. Like, what do I write about?" Right. So my first joke is, well, you have to go far enough back in the family tree because we're all related, right? We all have a common ancestor from somewhere in Africa. But frequently, kids like this would talk about their parents, or people who came across the ocean with 2 nickels in their pocket and built a business, right? So the essays can be answered in a variety of ways. So if you are visually diverse but haven't really encountered any type of discrimination or adverse events, I think you need to really not get creative and lie, but really reconsider that and talk to your parents and talk to other people in your family about whether they have received any. Because you could be an African American kid and living in Wellesley, Massachusetts, and not feel like you have any type of adverse economic types of types of things that happen to you, but you stick out, like a sore thumb in a very non-diverse community, and you can maybe you didn't have something to write about that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about economic diversity necessarily. It's about visual diversity. That's still what colleges really value. But there's other types of diversity to write about too. There's diversity of thought. There's diversity of activities. So diversity of thought could be, I'm a conservative kid in a very liberal environment, or vice versa. My whole family is very conservative, but I'm liberal. Or it could be, I am a I play a lot of chess, and I'm always thinking ahead in terms of 5 or 6 moves, and my friends kind of think that's weird. Or I hate to say this one, I'm a Marvel fan. My best friend is a DC fan. I hate to say this because I'm always ragging on my son about this, and we're always fighting about which company is better, which comics are better, characters are better, which movies are better, etc. So those don't necessarily address the Supreme Court diversity issue that they're trying to outlaw, but they do make an interesting essay. And if you can't really write about diversity without twisting yourself into knots, I would look for other sorts of diversity. It could be religious diversity. I'm Jewish, and I was doing something, and someone yelled at me. Hey, something nasty, especially now with all the stuff that's happening in Gaza and all that. But even without that, we had a super kid that we worked with last year who's getting to some great schools now, some terrific schools, and he wrote about he's a Sikh Indian, and he wrote a lot about his Gurdwara, the temple where they engage in a lot of charity and other community types of activities. Being an Indian is not. I mean, I'm talking about the not the Native American kind, but I'm talking about someone who's from India. That is certainly not a favorite class right now, as is the case with Asians, as is the case with white kids, Catholic, Jewish, etc. But I would lean into that in these essays because they're very interesting. Mm-hmm. So on one hand, they may not check off the diversity quotient, but on the other hand, they're going to make you seem like a more compelling, interesting candidate. So don't be afraid to write about things like that are uncomfortable. The only thing I would say, though, is particularly if you're going to write about politics, which a lot of people don't want to do that, and I understand that. But what I've heard numerous times over the years from various admissions officers is it's okay to write about something that's politically charged. I wouldn't necessarily, if I'm applying to Notre Dame, I wouldn't say I'm pro women's rights for abortion or something, right? But it's okay to write about something that could be perceived as politically incorrect or politically charged, as long as you give effect to the other side. You acknowledge that there's another potentially rational side to the argument, as opposed to just coming across as a lunatic. It's just a doctrinaire. It's my way. Everyone else is stupid.
Like a bundle of joy. Don't come across like a bundle of joy.
Okay, well, that's one way to do it. But there are, on each side of the aisle, the joy and the joyless sides. Well, they're both joyless, but on each side of the dial or the clicker or whatever, you'll find people like this. And that is not how you should approach a college essay. I think it is interesting to write about that stuff, and you have to be very careful to acknowledge the other side, because that's what colleges are. Ostensibly, that's what they are all about. Especially the liberal arts colleges, it's about diversity of ideas and free exchange of ideas. Of course, it doesn't always work out that way. It doesn't seem to work out that way, but I think the pendulum is swinging back a little bit more away from the censorship and whatever. It still happens. There's still plenty of people shouting down speakers who come and protesters and all that, but it seems to be a little bit better than it was last year, which is what we were hoping a year ago.
Yes.
I remember before, because my whole hypothesis was, as we went to last summer, the summer 24, which was right on the heels of the whole year after October 7th and all the protests, my hope was that colleges will have a summer to now plan and figure out how they're going to deal with all the protests and how they're going to confine it and punish people for violating university rules and all that.
And how to face the fact that they may be losing federal funding going forward.
Well, that didn't happen up until those threats didn't happen until January, right? But before then, I would say from August of 24, when kids started coming back to school, and certainly December of 24 or November maybe for the election, it did seem like colleges, for the most part, were a lot better about protecting our kids' safety, right, and making them feel better about being on campus.
And, some better than others.
Yeah, of course, right. And it's still going to be up and down, but I felt like there was some significant improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
Okay.
You?
I'll take it. It's a great trend. I'll take some more of it. I think there needs to be accountability at these schools, be it from protecting students' rights to feel safe on campus and not be the subject of anti-Semitism or racism of any kind.
And people should be also free to express their opinions without having physical harm or other fears forced on them.
There's a difference as wide as the ocean between the two. So let's get it right. Is it? Yeah.
Okay.
There's tons to say on.
Well, I think you said it all. So anyway, so the essays are pretty important especially the supplemental essays, because they give the colleges a little bit more information on, number one, you know, there's no more interviews for the most part. So this is the equivalent of putting a name to a face, but it's putting a "who are you" to a name. And then there's the personal statement, which is the essay that goes to every college. That's pretty important too. Again, no more interviews. Same rationale there. We are opening the doors as of this morning, March 1st, at I would say a deeply discounted price for the upcoming summer college application edge bootcamp. It's on our website, lockwoodcollegeprep.com. You just click on resources, and you'll see listed there, and you can read to your heart's desire. The whole point is, between the essays, supplemental essays, the entire application, the write-up of the activities section, and everything else that goes into this application, there should be a very clear thread of continuity that runs through the entire application and explains to an admissions officer who has about 6 minutes to read your entire application, including transcripts, including recommendations, you name it. This is why I am different. I know I had basically the same academic profile, GPA, grades, scores, rigor, as 50,000 other kids, but here is my closing argument why I should be chosen, or why I should be picked out of a crowd. So that's what we try to help people put together over the summer in our application, the College Application Edge Bootcamp. That is free for our one-on-one clients, but we do charge to the outside world if they want to hire us just for that. It's a group
It's fantastic.
bootcamp with some one-on-one breakout at every session.
It is a great antidote to handling and approaching that stress that precedes the senior year of high school with respect to college admissions. It is like I really do. I don't participate in it, so I am
Not
just
true.
observing. No, I'm
Not true.
chief snack officer. I do provide all the snacks for the in-person
CSO.
boot campies. But it is such a great way to go, I got this. It's gonna be handled. It's not gonna bleed into the fall where my kid really has to keep their grades up, and you don't have to painstakingly go through every part of that application and go, is this the right way, or is this the right way? Is this the right way, or is this the right way? You're gonna have inevitably so many questions, and to just have a backstop of expertise behind it is a major anxiety reducer in this process, and you guys do an amazing job. You do.
Well, we get good feedback. I appreciate that. And the other aspect is it's a way for you not to have to scream at your kid all summer, or wake up in August, days away from school starting with nothing but a blank cursor for where the essay should go. Blank flashing page and cursor. So that is available at a discount, a scholarship, we like to say, to March 1st on our website, Lockwood. You put that? Chat, lockwoodcollegeprep.com. Click on resources. Alrighty, great job. We touched the third rail and got away with it. Yeah, we'll see. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day and week, and we'll be back next week with another episode of College Coffee Talk. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, watching this on all the other social places, if you like it and follow it, you get these updates every week, because you're not getting them anywhere else. Certainly not from your guidance counselor or all the other usual suspects, other mommies, you name it. You need to do another Don't Be That Mom segment next week. You got to really bring it next week. We skipped it this week.
I was approved for another mom's group, so I should have some new material.
I wouldn't approve of you. So we'll be back next week with another Don't Be That Mom.